WW3 fears grow as South Korea threatens to block Donald Trump's anti-missile system. THAAD South Korean activists have launched an audacious bid to block the U.S. using its flagship anti-missile system THAAD. The £774 million, $1 billion, system was moved to South Korea last month amid mounting fears of a North Korean attack. But more than 500 residents living near the deployment site have demanded a court injunction to stop it being used. And at least a dozen people were injured in clashes with police after an anti-THAAD protest turned violent at the weekend. South Korean presidential candidate Moon Jae-in, who is likely to win today's election, is an outspoken opponent of the system. Speaking last year, he insisted backtracking on the plans would not cause tensions with Donald Trump's administration. He said, "I don't think that the reconsidering of THAAD would harm the South Korea-US alliance." Mr. Trump has made it clear he is expecting South Korea to pick up the bill for the system. He said, "I informed South Korea it would be appropriate if they paid. It's a $1 billion system. It's phenomenal, shoots missiles right out of the sky." The arrival of THAAD has also angered China, which fears the system's presence could threaten its own military security. Chinese defense spokesman Yang Yujun said it damages the regional strategic balance and stability. He added, "The Chinese side is resolutely opposed to this." Former President Barack Obama's administration planned for the system to become operational later this year. But growing tension in the region has forced America's hand. North Korean despot Kim Jong-un has made series of aggressive comments in recent months, sparking fears of an all-out conflict. The system was designed to take down short, medium and intermediate-range missiles outside of Earth's atmosphere. A THAAD battery consists of 6 truck-mounted M1075 rocket launchers, with up to 72 interceptor missiles per truck. It boasts a range of 200 kilometers, 124 miles, and fires its interceptors at speeds of up to 10,000 kilometers per hour, 6,250 mph. South Korea election latest, Trump's North Korea defense missile system in danger. North Korea could soon be summoned by Seoul for negotiations as the favorite to win today's South Korean election vowed a softer approach, even threatening to block the U.S. defense missile system and stopping military intervention. Moon Jae-in has also threatened to scrap Donald Trump's defense missile system if he wins, a major boost for the hermit state's crackpot leader Kim Jong-un. He said he would say no to America if necessary and instead work with other countries to help secure peace with North Korea without military means. Leftist Moon is set to secure a decisive victory today with his closest rivals, Hong Joon-pyo and Ahn Cheol-soo, who had promised a more tough approach with Kim Jong-un, trailing badly in the polls. Opinion polls taken appear to indicate Moon will secure a hefty victory over Hong by a score of 41.4% to 23.3%. The election has been marked by high turnout, with early indications pointing towards 59.9%, shattering the previous record of 52.6%. It would take a major shock for Moon to lose from here, and officials from Pyongyang to Washington are quickly assessing how today's win will affect the North Korea crisis. The former campaigner, who was once jailed for anti-government activities, has already offered to work with North Korea to bring tensions off the boil. He said he would talk with Kim's bloody dynasty and has offered to reopen the shared manufacturing project on the border with South Korea. The election was called after the previous president Park Geun-hye, who was once described by Kim as an old, insane, was impeached for corruption. She is currently being detained awaiting trial. The election has come at a time of heightening tension on the peninsula, which has been marked by increasingly aggressive actions and comments from both Pyongyang and Washington. Just this week North Korea declared its army was invincible and ready for a final sacred war. North Korea's man-made islands being primed for nuclear attacks, expert warns. North Korea could be preparing for evil deeds on mysterious man-made islands. North Korea experts are concerned the new lands, which were recently revealed by satellite imagery near the Sahi satellite launching station missile testing site, could be used to launch devastating nuclear attacks. Gordon Chang, an author of several books on Kim Jong-un's hermit state, said the islands had set alarm bells ringing in Seoul, Washington and Tokyo. He said, North Korea is never up to any good. The new facilities, whatever their purpose, will be used for evil deeds, mischief, or troublemaking of some sort. Mr. Chang said, given the recent escalation in missile tests on the peninsula, the islands would most likely be used for one of Kim's controversial launches. Despite worldwide condemnation, North Korea has continued to test fire missiles over the past few months, explaining it feared an attack by America and needed to prepare. Mr. Chang said, my sense is that the facilities on the new islands will be used for missile launches of some kind, especially because they are near Sahe. Other North Korea experts, however, urged calm and said the islands could be used for non-violent means, possibly even agriculture. Dr. Bruce Bechtel said, as far as the islands being something that could present a real imminent threat to the US or South Korea, I'm just not seeing it. The landmass of those islands is too small to move around missiles. He said farms, not the raining fire promised by Kim earlier this year, is the more likely end result. Dr. Bechtel said, it's interesting that they're developing these islands, but they're probably mostly for civilian use. They ruin a lot of their soil in the 80s and 90s. These islands have the potential to really help them out through possible fish farms or oyster farms. And weapons. Steve Sin said Kim could be trying to merge the two issues. He said, the North Koreans build just about everything for dual purpose. So, building something that is of military use on an agricultural project is certainly within its usual pattern. Kim Jong-un's path to peace? North Korean officials meet with U.S. foreign policy experts. North Korean officials have met with U.S. foreign policy experts amid speculation Washington and Pyongyang may dispel turmoil in the region through talks instead of conflict, it has been revealed. The ongoing talks are taking place in Oslo, with Norway serving as a neutral country despite the Scandinavian nation sharing a troubled past with the secret of state. One insider said, it's my understanding that dialogue between North Korean government officials and U.S. civilian experts opened in a suburb of Oslo and will continue through tomorrow. It comes just days after Donald Trump said he would be honored to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as tensions continue to escalate between the U.S. and North Korea. In an interview with Bloomberg News, Mr. Trump said, if it would be appropriate for me to meet with him, I would absolutely. I would be honored to do it. Under the right circumstances I would meet with him. He added, most political people would never say that, but I'm telling you under the right circumstances I would meet with him. The White House later said the meeting is unlikely to happen in the near future. White House spokesman Sean Spicer said, clearly conditions are not there right now. I don't see this happening anytime soon. He added, we've got to see their provocative behavior ratcheted down. President Trump's administration has said North Korea must agree to abandon its nuclear program, with U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson telling the UN Security Council that Washington would not negotiate with Pyongyang. Amid mixed messages from the Trump administration, a spokeswoman for the U.S. State Department said, the United States remains open to credible talks on the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. However, conditions must change before there is any scope for talks to resume. Trump to use Swedish diplomats to secure release of U.S. citizens detained in North Korea. U.S. officials are planning to use the Swedish embassy in North Korea to secure the release of U.S. citizens detained in Pyongyang. On Monday, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer admitted news that a fourth U.S. citizen had been detained by the Hermit State was concerning. He told reporters, we're well aware of it and we're going to work through the Embassy of Sweden through our State Department to seek the release of the individuals there. Both the US and the UK do not have diplomatic relations with North Korea, so any negotiations are done through the Swedish embassy in Pyongyang. Kim Hak-song, who works for the Pyongyang's University of Science and Technology, became the fourth American citizen to be held by the Hermit State. North Korea's official KCNA news agency released a statement announcing the latest arrest. It said, a relevant institution of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea detained American citizen Kim Hak-song on May 6 under a law of the DPRK on suspension of his hostile acts against it. On April 21, U.S. Korean citizen Kim Sang-duk was arrested at Pyongyang International Airport after spending around a month in North Korea taking part in humanitarian activities. The other two U.S. citizens already held in North Korea are Otto Warmbier, a 22-year-old student, and Kim Dong-chol, a 62-year-old Korean-American missionary. Mr. Warmbier was detained in January 2016 and sentenced to 15 years hard labor for attempting to steal a propaganda banner. 2 months later, Kim Dong-chol was sentenced to 10 years hard labor for subversion. Neither has appeared in public since their sentencing. The news comes amid heightened tensions between North Korea and the international community, with the US, China and a host of European countries working together to find a resolution to ongoing hostilities. Meanwhile, South Koreans are set to go to the polls today to elect a new president after a corruption scandal brought down former leader Park Geun-hye. The front-runner, Moon Jae-in, favors more negotiations with North Korea and says he won't be willing to visit Pyongyang to defuse tensions. His main challengers are IT tycoon Ahn Cheol-soo, who supports a strong military build-up to fend off any aggression from their neighbors in the north, and Hong Joon-pil, who has been dubbed Korea's Trump for his outspoken rhetoric and sexist remarks. North Korea vows to instigate powerful strikes to destroy Trump's CIA and South Korea. The communist country vowed to undertake counterterrorism measures of justice against the two countries after their intelligence agencies allegedly tried to assassinate its leader, Kim Jong-un, announcing the harrowing plans via its state-run Korean Central News Agency, KCNA. Pyongyang said its military will begin a series of more powerful anti-terrorism striking action and mercilessly destroy the terrorists. The Hermit Kingdom claimed the attempted assassination of Kim was due to take place on the Day of the Sun, which commemorates the birth of North Korea's founder, Kim Il-sung. During the parade, North Korea said the two countries were going to use biochemical substances to exterminate him. North Korean officials went on to accuse the CIA of bribing a North Korean citizen with £32,000, $40,000 to carry out the assassination. Ri Byung-ho, the head of North Korean intelligence, described the suspect as a very important person and that there have already been more than 80 planned terrorist attacks which have been foiled, the newspaper added. North Korea's determination to retaliate against the US and South Korea comes after the US House of Representatives introduced the North Korea Intelligence Enhancement Act. The proposed legislation would give the U.S. intelligence agencies clearer monitoring powers over the North Korea's nuclear weapons capacity, enabling early warning systems and assessments to hold Kim Jong-un accountable to imposed sanctions. Currently, 4 U.S. citizens are being held in North Korea. Kim Hak-song, the latest to be detained, worked for Pyongyang University of Science and Technology, taken on suspicion of hostile acts against the state. A U.S. State Department official said the detentions underscored the risk associated with travel to North Korea. Days after the last U.S. citizen was detained, White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer told reporters, "Obviously, this is concerning. We're well aware of it and we're going to work through the Embassy of Sweden, through our State Department, to seek the release of the individuals there." Trump is bluffing. North Korea will boost nuclear armory as Kim Jong-un defies U.S. North Korea has threatened to speed up its production of nuclear weapons after claiming the Trump administration's plans for military action were a bluff, the state's official propaganda network has revealed. Brutal dictator Kim Jong-un has traded verbal blows with President Trump over the last month, with the tiny tyrant claiming he would wipe the U.S. off the face of the earth with a nuclear strike. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson claimed military action against the brutal regime was an option on the table. And President Trump threatened the secret of state with the full force of the USS Carl Vinson strike group, telling the world he was sending an armada. But without military intervention bearing down on North Korea, the nuclear fanatics have shown they are not concerned by the threats from across the Pacific. State-controlled media has claimed Pyongyang will ramp up production of its nuclear weaponry, blasting Donald Trump's war rhetoric as unsubstantial and nonsensical. The propaganda claims, April has gone and now it's May. So, the big show of the US spreading the story of a war in April ended with failure. The Trump administration revealed itself before the world how unsubstantial and nonsensical its TPRK policy was. If the Trump administration noisily vociferates about the story of a war and made to avoid disgrace, nobody would believe it. The DPRK's development of nuclear deterrent for self-defense will make faster progress now that the Trump administration recklessly makes military hysterics, resorting to the tougher sanctions and pressure upon it. It comes as the despotic nation declares it is ready for a final sacred war at any moment, warning its Western enemies this latest bout of saber-rattling is not empty talk. A bizarre tirade released by the KCNA news agency said Kim's rivals would be smashed to pieces by the North Korea military. It began, "No army in the world has covered the ever-victorious path for a protracted period under the red flag held in the early period of the revolution despite grim tempests of history as the Korean People's Army." The Revolutionary Armed Forces of the DPRK is an elite army that emerged only victorious under the care of the illustrious commanders, and an invincible army equipped with powerful strike means and ever-victorious tactics.